Right, just move the image down to the bottom left and text. Oh. In the night. Right. Press continue and voila, everyone. Yes, we're all dealing with this in our own way, and as I'm sure you'll know by now, my way of dealing with, I was going to say heartbreak, but to be honest, just like anything, is by designing and buying mugs. So yeah, that's where we're at. Listen, there's probably not going to be a great deal of patter on this video, just like every other video, says you, disgruntled viewer. But we are going to be chatting about what's going on at Celtic at the moment, and it is obviously a lot to take in, it's fair to say. A lot has happened since the reaction that we did post-match on Saturday, and we're going to try and run through it on today's video. Now, the story about Ange Postecoglou is fast moving. The story about who's going to replace him at Celtic is also fast moving. I'm recording this around about 1:30 on Monday afternoon. This video is going to be with you after 5 p.m. on Monday afternoon. So things may have changed between now and then, so please bear in mind. But this is an up-to-date version of events as of 1:30 on Monday afternoon. So Ange Postecoglou is going to leave Celtic after 2 seasons at the club and become Tottenham Hotspur's new manager. This story is now beyond doubt. It's been reported by multiple sources, The Athletic and Sky Sports, just to name a couple. It hasn't been confirmed by either Celtic or Tottenham Hotspur at the time of recording. I kind of feel like it's maybe going to be a Tuesday announcement. That's the impression that I get. But Ange is away. It seems like he will get a 2-year deal at Spurs with an option of a third. Not that it really matters to us anymore. Interestingly, he is reportedly going to take John Kennedy and Gavin Strachan down to London with him. Now, as we understand it, John Kennedy is gone. He will be leaving Celtic and will be joining Spurs alongside Ange. We don't have any information on Gavin Strachan, but you would have to guess that there would be something similar going on there. Not sure what Harry Kewell deserved to be the kind of last pick in the playground, as seems to be the case, and he hasn't been kind of mentioned as going down to join Ange and Kennedy and possibly Strachan at Spurs, so we'll have to wait and see how that one goes. There has been a lot of reaction on social media, as you would expect, to the news that Ange Postecoglou, this guy that we all idolised to an extent that I can't remember in my time supporting the club, has decided to leave Celtic after just 2 years to go to Spurs. Social media is a divisive place at the best of times, as we all know, so it's probably no surprise to hear that there are differing views on Ange Postecoglou leaving at this juncture. Some people feel let down by Ange, others feel that he's lied to the Celtic support. Some feel that it's just too good a job for him to turn down and he should be praised for the job he did at the club. I kind of feel that there's maybe there's a kind of middle ground to be found there. I totally get why people feel kind of frustrated and let down by Ange that he's left, you know, after just 2 years, because I think it does make you feel quite kind of empty and hollow and disappointed and maybe even angry, and sometimes you just need a kind of outlet to get rid of that frustration and a kind of target for it, and just kind of the obvious one. Personally, I'm disappointed that it's ended so soon, but I wouldn't say I'm disappointed in Ange. I just think it's a big opportunity that's come up for him. in a major league. I'm not convinced it's about the money either, as much as a lot of people, want to say it is. I think it's a very nice bonus to be on, I think, £8 million a year they're talking about at Spurs, slightly more than I make for this channel. But he wouldn't really be needing the money anyway. I mean, he sold his kind of place in Melbourne last week for a lot of money, and he wouldn't have been on bad money at Celtic and in some of his previous jobs either. For me, it's just an opportunity for him to go and test himself against the best managers in the world, and the vast majority of the best managers in the world are all in the English Premier League, and it's a chance for him not just to go to that league, but to go to one of the bigger clubs in that league, probably the biggest club he could have gone to directly from Celtic. So I understand why he's gone, but it doesn't really kind of soothe the pain too much. It is disappointing, because I thought this journey had a lot longer to run, and it seems like it's going to end very prematurely. Everything we heard from Ange recently hinted at the journey continuing. This club needs to become a Champions League regular every single season. Chat kind of hinted that it was a long-term thing, and even like the signings of Alistair Johnson and Hyun-Gyu in the winter, and the fact that he felt there was more potential in those two than Juranovic and Giakoumakis, who they'd replaced, hinted at him being here longer. And then the classic, "You'll be surprised by how long I am here" quote from probably a couple of months ago, if that. And in hindsight, that quote is probably the one that people have the biggest issue with. And maybe Ange, looking back, would regret saying that. I think in his defence, he probably felt at that stage that he was going to be here for longer, that a job like Spurs wouldn't come up. And given that he's asked these questions, probably a million times since he came to the club, he maybe just let his guard down a little bit and made a promise that he couldn't keep. I mean, we are all human after all. As I say, I don't feel angry at Ange. I think he was a terrific manager for Celtic. I'm just disappointed that we're not going to get longer under him and really find out how he and this team would have fared in subsequent seasons, especially in Europe. Would they have been able to crack Europe? Guess we will never know, certainly under Ange. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I think in time he'll be remembered really fondly. It's just pretty raw at the moment, and I totally understand why some people are pissed off. The good news, and I really want to emphasise this in this video, is that Celtic could hardly be in a better position for a new manager to come in. So we are the best team in Scotland. Once again, we've won all 3 domestic trophies on offer. We have automatic Champions League group stage football next season, no qualifiers needed, and the opportunity to have that the following season as well in this new Champions League format if we win the league next season. And we still will be favourites to win the league given the squad we have. And the squad we have is another major positive. We have a mainly kind of young squad. I think I read earlier that Callum McGregor is the only outfielder above 28. Would that be right? And he even isn't into his 30s yet. We have the majority of these players, in fact all of them, tied up on kind of permanent deals, and a lot of them with 2, 3, even 4 years to go. It's not a squad that needs a lot of work done to it. I mean, that could change if players leave, and I would certainly expect that to be the case this summer, but that was going to happen anyway under Ange. And on top of all of that, the new manager is coming into a club where there's this incredible bond between this team and this Celtic support. And even when Ange leaves, that bond is still going to be there. We're still going to have a number of players who we absolutely love. And there's just an opportunity for a new manager to come in and to really take us to the next level. You look at a team like Brighton down south, and admittedly it's very different, Celtic to Brighton in terms of expectation, the standard of the league we play in and all of that kind of thing. But Brighton had Graham Potter in charge, taking them to heights that club had never reached. Potter was headhunted by Chelsea, and Brighton brought in Roberto De Zerbi as his replacement, and De Zerbi has taken them to an even kind of higher level than Potter. And that's what I really hope happens at this stage. I hope there's a manager out there ready to come into Celtic that can build on the foundations, the really great foundations. In fact, foundations is probably not even doing it justice that Ange has laid at the club. Like, we couldn't be in a better position. Usually when a manager comes in, things have gone wrong at a club. Things have gone right at Celtic for the past 2 years, longer than that if you exclude the COVID season. And it's just the perfect opportunity for a new manager, a fresh voice to come in and to take this squad to the next level, while obviously putting their own stamp on things. So while it's sad news that Ange is moving on, I'm not going to shy away from that. I was gutted when I heard, because I loved Ange. I wrote a book about Ange. That's how much I loved him, and he's moved on. I am still positive about Celtic's future, and I think there's a real opportunity for the next manager to come in and to take us to the next level. So who is that next manager going to be? So far, again, at the time of recording, the names we've been linked with are David Moyes, so that was his son last week, Brendan Rodgers and Jesse Marsh, both on Sky Sports today. Notable to me that those three guys there all have Premier League experience, and it's quite weird because looking at a new manager, I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't actually have like an outstanding candidate in my mind like I have done previously with Brendan Rodgers back in 2016 and Eddie Howe, I'm not going to get the mug out, but as you well know, in whatever year that was, 2021, prior to Ange, I think the entire support felt kind of fixated on these two guys at that stage. They felt like the right appointment, and then the club went for both. Obviously got Rodgers, didn't get Howe. We ended up with Ange, worked out great. But for both of those major kind of managerial searches that we've had recently, the big ones, not including the Neil Lennon kind of interim spell, we all kind of had a name, the majority of us anyway, and that was the feeling. I don't get the impression there is an outstanding name here, but I think there's a number of really good ones. And for me, having Premier League experience is kind of what Celtic need at the moment, in terms of a manager coming in who's managed at that top level, can come in and can kind of win the hearts and minds of what is effectively a Postecoglou squad. He has signed the vast majority of these players, and we need someone who can come in and can really get these guys firing, because it's going to be a massive shock for them to have an all-consuming figure like Ange moving on. So I think we need a big personality, someone who can handle the club. Personally, I don't feel like it's the time to go for a manager who is a massive risk. And I know you could look at Ange back 2 years ago as being a massive risk, in that he'd never managed a club the size of Celtic. But I think we're in a totally different place now to where we were when Ange came in, and I think we can look for a more established name than Ange was when he came in. So yeah, we are going to do this in depth tomorrow. I'll do a proper video. I think we'll try and get through all of the names that have been linked and have a bit of a laugh with all of that stuff. Just felt today we wanted to kind of cover the Ange stuff mainly, but I will quickly offer you my thoughts on some of these following names without actually using words. Already regretting this. Right. David Moyes. Kind of doubting myself there. Good start. Brendan Rodgers. Jesse Marsh. Graham Potter. Enzo Maresca. Ketil Knutsen. Yeah, I don't know if that'll make the final video. I think it's encouraging that we're hearing that Celtic are getting linked with managers already, and that the club are clearly already looking for Ange's replacement. Jokes about mugs aside, Brendan Rodgers is the really interesting one, Pros for Brendan Rodgers: he's an excellent manager. I don't think that's in doubt. You look at his spell with Leicester, and although that ended badly, he still took them to 2 fifth-place finishes in the Premier League in successive seasons. Should have been higher in both either. Should have been top 4 Champions League football in both. He won the FA Cup with Leicester, and he took them to the semi-final of the Europa Conference League, despite not even knowing what that competition was, which is a hell of an achievement. So yeah, he's a good manager. He would almost certainly body Michael Beale, and who doesn't want to see that? And finally, he's the kind of guy that Ange's players would buy into, and as I said earlier, that's very important. The cons: how much does he fancy it? Second time at Celtic, would he have the same hunger as he did in 2016? We wouldn't have the same loving relationship with Brendan as we did with Ange or with Brendan Rodgers in his first stint, but maybe we're never going to get a relationship like we had with Ange. We aren't, whoever we bring in. So yeah, maybe that's not a massive issue. And recruitment would be another issue with Rodgers. I think that's a crucial part of what Ange was creating. Rodgers' recruitment wasn't great, apart from his first season, really, when he brought in the likes of Dembele and Sinclair. After that, it kind of tailed off. So if it was Rodgers, but we still had the likes of Mark Lowell doing recruitment, then I wouldn't necessarily be against the appointment. For me, as you probably got from my daft noises segment, Graham Potter is probably top of my list. Again, there'll probably be reservations about him, given how his Chelsea stint went. Could he handle the pressure of Celtic? I just get the impression that he would be quite a similar appointment to Brendan Rodgers in 2016, but he may have a better relationship with our support and be even more motivated, given how the Chelsea job went. So Potter would be number one. I'm not totally against Jesse Marsch or David Moyes either. I'd probably be quite content with Rodgers too. And to be honest, as time goes on, I feel myself just getting more aboard the idea of Brendan Rodgers. I think we need someone who will maintain our domestic supremacy. I think I really want Celtic to make inroads in Europe. But, let's not beat around the bush. Given that we have Champions League qualification on offer every season for winning the league is the absolute priority, and we can't afford to get this one wrong and allow Rangers to win the league next season and get Champions League and kind of lose a bit of our kind of dominance in Scotland. We need to get this appointment right. If we do, as I say, I have no doubt about Celtic's dominance continuing domestically and possibly us improving in Europe as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a shock how quickly this has all happened. The good news is that we're going to have a pretty exciting summer. There'll be loads of chat about the new manager first of all, and then transfers. It's going to be a hectic summer, and it's probably going to fly in, which isn't a bad thing. Lastly, I just want to address you Aussies very quickly. We've loved having you as part of the channel over the past 2 seasons. I see your comments. You're more than welcome here. We love your takes and we love your positivity that we don't often have as much of in Scotland. Basically, stick around. We don't want to lose you. Stick around for the next chapter of Celtic's story. Ange may be away. Aaron Moy is still here. Hopefully you've kind of found out enough about the club over the past 2 seasons to realise that we are much bigger than just Ange Postecoglou, and I'm really hopeful about the future, so it'd be great if you stuck around for that too. As for the rest of you, we will definitely see you tomorrow.